One of the things that I talked about when I was in New York, I dropped a video on the Anton Daniels channel. And on that channel, I dropped a video and I said that I reached out to all of my enemies. All of my enemies. Shout out to my HVAC techs. Shout out to my brothers getting the bag, my fellas in the building. Come on, man. I expect for my men to get the bag. I ain't gonna sit here and call out everybody. I can't acknowledge everybody, but if you a guy and you ain't bag chasing, then what the fuck we doing? You know what I'm saying? And recently, again, I dropped a video while I was in New York, and it burned my soul because I said, yo, my mentor, one of my mentors told me, Anton, write out a list of everybody that you would consider an enemy and reach out to them and make it right. And so I did. And it burned my soul because I reached out to about 9 people. I'm going to be honest with you. And I had my daughter with me. And she was like, Dad, that's a hard thing to do. But I reached out to him. Right? And the first six people that I reached out to, they said, fuck you, Anton. I don't give a fuck about what you coming out me. I don't care that you want to be a nice guy. I don't care that we above 40. I don't care if we got kids. Keep that same motherfucking energy that you had, and it's up. Now you got to remember, most of these people that I reached out to, I've never met them in real life. However, there has been some friction, whether it was on their side and it started or whether it was on my side. The blame, we're not playing the blame game. We playing a grown man game right here, right? We playing a grown man game. And so I was very dismayed because the one thing that's the most difficult for us all, and one thing that I like to do is I like to wear my passion on my sleeve, and I also like to be transparent about what it is that I'm going through, good and bad, because it allows for me to then hold you accountable because I first did myself. I would never advocate for y'all to do something that I'm not doing myself. So it was important that I did it not only for me, not only for my daughter, for her to see it, but also for you. Also for you. And I'm not going to say no names. I'll say one name. And the reason that I'm going to say one name is because one of these names you publicly know. There's some people that's public and y'all know, and some people not so much. But one of the names was one of the last 3. So I reached out to 9 people. The first 6 says, fuck you. And so I really felt bad. I felt like a fool because I'm like, man, I done reached out to these people and they didn't slap my hand. Some of them probably is screenshotting the message that I sent them so that they can put it on social media with my phone number on it because I reached out and I said, hey, let's have a conversation or let's meet up in person and, let's solve for whatever our issues are. Some of them was like, fuck you, Anton. And then when I calmed down, I realized 2 things, right? The first thing is, and this is before the last 3 that I talked to that actually had a conversation and we resolved it. I realized 2 things. The first thing is, you can't expect for every single person to operate on your time. So maybe they still feeling a certain type of way. And so just because I reached out to them, and this is the understanding in me, right? Just because I reached out to them don't mean that they fully recovered from whatever it is that they felt like our friction was. And so what I did was, after I got over my ego on the first 6, I sent the follow-up text message to all of them. And I said, yo, well, you got my number. You don't even know what it is that I wanted to discuss with you, but you got my number. And if you ever feel like you want to have a conversation, I'm here. After I let my fucking ego go, I sent the follow-up text message and I said, listen, I get it, but I'm here if you want to have a conversation. I'm a grown man. I'm not about that life. I want to be able to move on and have peace and love. So you got to have a level of understanding. And I'm having this conversation with y'all for a reason, because I'm expecting for y'all to have this same generosity, the same love, the same forgiveness, and more importantly, the same understanding. You can't get mad at them because they don't respond to you in a time frame that you feel like is necessary in order for y'all to resolve the issue. You got to leave it out there. You got to be willing to be embarrassed. You got to be willing to have somebody screen grab you and say, fuck this nigga. I knew that he wanted to be a sucker. I knew that he was weak. I knew he didn't want to fight. You got to be able to leave that shit out there because the goal is to solve for the situation, not necessarily inflate your ego. So that's the first thing that I learned. And then the second part of the lesson was it came in the last three. Because just because you reach out in the beginning don't necessarily mean that it's a lost cause. And one of the people that I talked to on the phone, I had a conversation with, and I'm not going to tell y'all the details of it, but one of the people that I talked to JR from Lapeef, right? And I said that's the one name that I share with y'all because y'all are familiar with him. And it wasn't cool. I felt like I was wronged. He probably felt like he was wronged. And again, I'm not going to explain no details of it or whatever, but what I've realized is that my strength is in my growth. It's not in my past. So me continuing to hold on to things from the past was hindering how far I was going to be able to take myself because I'm so busy focused on how it is that we were except for how it is that I can be. I'm not looking to be friends. I'm not looking to do business with people again. But what I am looking to do is continue to resolve it so that I don't have to continue to have that on my shoulders and I can let that shit go. Forgiveness is not just for them. Forgiveness is for you too. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for you too. Right? And so, no, I'm 99% sure that we will never do nothing again because I'm not interested and I don't know how you feel about that. That's not the conversation that we had. But the thing that we did do is we buried that shit. We had a handshake agreement. We moving on. And so I said, you know what? That's cool. And then right after that, two other people, yo, Ty, yeah, let's go. And then one of the people I am going to wind up linking up with at some point. But my point is that y'all got to understand, I'm not asking y'all to go back and hang out with people and spend time with them and all of that other type of shit. What I'm asking y'all to do is to release yourself from your past so that you can fucking run into your future. I'm asking you to release yourself from your past so that you can run into your future. That's it. At the end of the day, I don't want anything to be on my shoulders. Not a burden, not a worry, not a care. And I've always prayed the prayer to forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' name, amen. Right? And so as a result, if I'm going to pray that prayer, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, if I'm going to be forgiven according to how I forgive other people, then I got to be without spot, wrinkle, and blemish. Because I can't expect for God to love me and forgive me and hold and embolden me to continue to go in this direction if I'm forgiven according to how I treat other people. So I got to let that shit go. If you're loved according to how you love, if you're blessed according to how you blessed, if you're forgiven according to how you forgive, because none of us are without blemish, then I got to let that shit go. It's for you. It's not just for them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm imploring you guys, no matter who it is, whether it's your mother, your father, I don't care what they did to you. I don't care how much you were wronged. If it's a brother, if it's a sister, if it's a former friend, one time, reach out. Don't chase them. Don't beg them. Reach out, resolve that shit, put your ego down, and then let it go. Let it go. It will be so much better for you in the long run than for you to hold that shit in and harnessing it because it's preventing you from getting to your greatness. That's all I'm saying. Let that shit go. And let me add something else in there, a caveat. Some of y'all did some people wrong and you tried to forget about it like it ain't never happened before. Some of y'all need to make a phone call because you're not the person that got wrong. You the person that did somebody else wrong. And then you tried to act like you didn't do it like it was toxic people around you. No, you was the toxic one. Some of y'all did some shit that you need to call somebody and resolve and say, my bad, I apologize. I shouldn't have did that shit. We all acting like we all above it and that we all above reproach and that we ain't did nothing to nobody. It's somebody that you need to call and resolve that shit. Come on, man. Let's be for real. Some of us is the toxic friend. Some of us are the toxic friend. You didn't fuck somebody's husband. You didn't listen. If they don't know, I'm not saying go over there with a confession. All I'm saying is if you did something you wasn't supposed to do, don't be over here ruining no families. But if it's something that you need to resolve because it is something that's visible that's playing out because of you, you need to go and fix that shit. Come on, y'all, and don't let our egos control us. Some of y'all done did something to somebody and you need to get some love in your heart and go over there and show him some love. Now, I'm not telling y'all that Anton is not going to fall back into his weaknesses sometimes because God ain't done with me yet. But I pray to God that I don't. I pray to Jesus. I pray every single day, God, give me the strength and let me continue to go from strength to strength and become a better version every single day based off of the fact that I'm growing and I'm loving and multiply my results based off of my efforts. Multiply my results based off of my effort. Give me 10 times the result of the effort that I'm trying to do good.